Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Circling the Rabbit Hole podcast with me, Dr. Claire Kinuthia. As you already know, this is a safe space where we have pretty intense conversations now about real issues affecting us here in Kenya. To be honest, a lot of them also are global issues that we want to end stigma around, we want to end the shame around, and educate, inform, and sensitize those around us in order to improve our situations, in order to end some of the cycles that we see being propagated and still happening. And sometimes it's honestly shocking because we're in 2023 and some of the issues we still have to talk about and feel shame around talking about. It's honestly mind-boggling. But today it's a special episode for the podcast. As you recall, we've started a series known as the Spotlight series, where I spend time talking to individuals who are changemakers, people who are actively participating in advocacy, in activism, people who are making a difference, especially so with issues to do with sexual, reproductive, and related mental health. So the focus is on them, organizations they've started, facilities that they're running that are helping to make a difference in people's lives on a day-to-day basis. And today's episode is very special for me because I feel like I have an icon on set. And it's because of the work she's doing with her organization, Usikimye. I'm sure a lot of my audience who are watching know exactly what I'm talking about, because if you're not already following their work, especially so on social media, those of you who are on Instagram, I'm sure you're seeing the work they're doing for those victims and survivors of gender-based violence, intimate partner violence, and generally speaking, any form of physical or sexual violence. And that is the one and only Njeri.
Thank you.
I'm so excited that you accepted my invitation to begin with, because in my mind, sometimes I go like, oh my gosh, she's such a powerhouse. So there's no way she's going to even have time to come and have a conversation. But I'm glad you were able to make the time. I'm sure, because again, now we've started to accept that we have a bit more of a global audience as well. There'll be people who are listening or watching who are not aware of who you are and the work that you're doing. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit of background about you, the person, and then also Usikimye, the organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Njeri Migwi. I run an organization known as Usikimye. For me, I always say I am a cat mom. I also mother humans sometimes. Definitely a mom. I know. Beehive. Cat mom. All round, a human who loves joy and a human who loves you know what I say, I'm experiencing the human journey and I'm here for all the facets of it.
Right.
And I know most people think because of the work I do how stressful it is. I do not have pockets of joy. I'm a gamer.
Oh, nice.
I love gaming.
Okay.
Yes, I play Call of Duty. I play Lords Mobile. I play
Somebody
Clans.
needs to teach me these
yes,
things.
some of these things. They're shooting games. They're very nice. I like shooting things. It makes me feel like I have some power over things that are happening outside of the world. So, so all these things, I have things I do.
Yeah.
I enjoy poetry, my occasional glass of wine. So I am as human as we come. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that we have already so much in common. I'm also a cat mom, proudly so. Like that one for whatever, guys. This is my baby.
Yes.
This is my babies. Priorities them. I don't know what else we're doing here.
I have Boots, Aris, Violet. Used to be short for violence, but we changed it to Violet. She was a very feral cat who was very violent.
Right.
How she became a really adorable cat, she became Violet. Yeah.
Nice.
And Pickle.
Oh, nice. 4. Mine are 3. So I have Milo, Hattie, and Cheddar.
Exactly.
Nice.
I
and
love
of course, their personalities are different.
Very.
I mean, really.
Imagine not having cats.
Listen.
Cannot be me.
Could not be me. Could not be me. If you're not cat parents, you're missing out.
You're missing out a lot. It's like having little pockets of madness in your house.
Yeah.
They do so many things and you get so much
and they're
joy
so
just from seeing
fascinating.
it. Exactly.
Yeah. The other thing is I am definitely a member of the Beehive, big time. Queen Bee.
Yes.
Yet another thing we could talk about forever and ever.
Yes.
And then there's, of course, activism, advocacy, especially so in the SRHR space, the sexual reproductive health space. I think we're both allies as well.
Yes.
There's that
I've
integration,
forgotten to
very
say that
strong.
I am very much an ally.
As you can see, I have stalked you online, clearly.
Clearly.
I've done my research.
Yes.
And then we have feminism. As much as people are trying to make it such a negative word, I'm proudly a feminist, and I think everybody should be.
Everyone should
in
be.
all honesty.
In all honesty.
Right.
I don't get it, why people think feminists. It's every time I talk about an issue or spotlight an issue, I get these people who come and tell me I'm a bitter feminist. And I'm like, one of the things I'm not is bitter. And one of the things I will continue spotlighting is things
issues, because as long as the issues are there, how can we not talk about them?
And you know, the funny part is I was raised by my dad. Yeah, I'm a child who was raised by a single dad.
Yeah.
And because there were no gender roles in our home, I grew up assuming the world looks like that. Because my dad never told me, no, you can't do that because you're a girl.
Right.
You know, I have climbed as many trees as there have possibly have been.
Right.
I have had broken limbs. My poor dad. My body has been stitched. I have done so many things. Sometimes I look back, I'm like, hi. The other day I was asking Dad, how did you survive my childhood? Because I was thinking about it and I was like, damn, I was a terrible tomboy. I did it all. You just name it, you just know I've done. I've jumped from a tree to a river, and I was brought up in Nairobi. So going to Shago was very exciting for me because I could do all these things.
You had the freedom to do everything outdoors.
And that's it. Yeah. So for me, my dad never said, because now you've broken your leg, I never want to know. I would break my leg, heal, and then the next holiday, I'm back climbing trees and doing adventures and getting inside tires and being rolled down the hill. It was crazy.
That's so much fun.
Yes. And my dad used to cook.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, fantastic.
My dad used to cook.
Yeah.
So he'd cook on Monday, then that would be my day of washing dishes.
Right.
Tuesday, I would cook, he would wash dishes. Now let me come to the real world and find out things don't work like that. So I say I'm a feminist as a result of my dad. Isn't that funny? My dad wouldn't probably even know what a feminist really is.
Right.
But that is how he
was
brought
a
me
practicing
up.
feminist himself.
He
as
never
much as
told
you don't have to own a label or put a label on anything, that's how he lived his life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's that simple.
Right.
Why is it that coming to the house and holding your baby and you're saying I'm babysitting? How are you babysitting your child?
Your own child.
Like, make it make sense.
We have so much to talk about.
Right.
So my first question would be, how does somebody who is so joyful and came from the upbringing that you had, where you had such an adventurous childhood, you were filled with love and joy, you were surrounded and supported with a lot of love and joy, how did you end up working in the pretty much one of the most violent spaces that exist in this country, dealing with people who are undergoing all sorts of horrible forms of abuse, neglect, this including children as well? How did you end up? What was the motivation behind starting Usikimye? And also, because again, audience being diverse, what's the meaning of the word Usikimye? Maybe we start there.
Usikimye means do not be silent in Swahili.
In Swahili, yeah.
Do not be silent. Because one of the things that is about gender-based violence is the taboo around it. If you think about it, we've been told for a very long time, we keep silent. In fact, where I come from, a woman's name is Mutumia, the one that keeps silent. So you can see things, you're supposed to keep these things a secret. Do not showcase your family. Do not bring embarrassment or stigma to the
embarrass or shame your family
name. So here we are.
Yeah.
So we know these things, but we don't talk about them because they're none of our business. Yeah. In fact, in Kenya, we have this annoying thing that we say, you know, two people that have covered themselves in the same duvet. We do not want to participate. Yeah. And that is what has made GBV right now, as we look at it, to be a very, very problematic thing. 1 in 3. 1 in 3. I mean, 1 in 3 women. Yeah. That's horrible.
Yeah, that's true.
So we need to destigmatize. We need to start speaking. We need to be advocates of not being silent on issues like this.
Yeah. So what led you down this path?
Interestingly, love.
Okay. Yep.
I have to say that as a teenager, I got pregnant. Yeah, I met this person, and I was a teenager. I was 15. Okay. I got pregnant. Yeah. You're one of those people who, one time we got pregnant, and voila, I was so ashamed. Again, shame. Yeah. You know what I did? I ran away from home. I couldn't face my dad. I was like, my God, how does my dad look at me? What is he going to think about me? Like with a whole, no.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I didn't even know I was pregnant. Let's even just start from there. I didn't know I was pregnant. My dad is the one who realized I was pregnant. And then my dad said, you're pregnant. I said, what? Me? No, it was once. And my dad is like, what?
Are you confirming?
So off we went to hospital and, I got tested and it was affirmed I'm pregnant. And then we went home and I thought my dad was for the first time, I was 100% sure my dad was going to beat me. My dad was like, okay, we shall start clinic. And I was looking at him like, what? First of all, I'm in high school. I am not understanding how I am pregnant. And then my dad says, you need to get that man to come here. And I'm like, I'm pregnant,
Can
I absorb that and then bring this man? And then even when this man came to my home, he was like, he even said, but it was once and didn't even, and it was really embarrassing. And so I was like, nope. I swear in away and got married at 15.
Oh, wow.
And I gave birth when I was 16.
Okay. So you moved in with the man?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Nilienda kwao. So we started living together and my dad looked for me in this Nairobi because my dad wasn't going to allow any of this. Yeah. And when he finally found me, I'd already given birth. He actually found me in hospital. And he was like, I need you to raise your son. I need you to come back home. But if you refuse to come back home, I need you to raise your son. And then I need you to go back to school.
Right.
We are not compromising on that. Otherwise, I'm going to take you to jail.
I like your dad.
You're 16. You have to finish school.
You have to finish school.
We are not compromising.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for that. So when my son was 1, the violence started early enough. I should have known.
All right. Okay.
By the time my son was 1, I think I'd gone home maybe 5 times.
Violence by your partner?
Yes.
Right.
Remember, I am 16 now.
Yeah.
He's 21. Really, I thought tulikuwa tunacheza kalongo. And for those who don't understand, it is, in my head, having been a child who grew up reading Mills and Boons and Harlequins and all this romance, this idea of Prince and... Yeah, so for me it wasn't that serious.
Right, okay. Yeah.
It was just, we were playing house.
Right.
And then playing house, hapo ndio nikaanza kulearn you can be slapped. You can be hit. I may take my baby and run back home. So most of that 1 year, I was mostly home. So finally my dad was like, now, finish school, we're done. You've passed, you have to go to college.
Yeah.
So what we are going to do, because me, I do not want anybody to say they helped me raise my child. Mtoto, daycare. You, school.
Nice.
So that's what happened.
Your
But again, I went back to that.
Amazing.
As somebody who says, I went back home.
You went back?
To my very loving, abusive husband.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't that you left once and that's it?
Oh, no. I left, I think, maybe 9 times.
Okay.
Officially.
And
then
still
one time
back.
I left and never came back.
Right.
I stayed on for 15 years. Yeah, I left when I was 31.
Wow.
Officially. The one that now I left and never went back.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about people who didn't have money. I'm talking about...
You had the support. From
probably now, if Instagram was as famous then, I would be one of those people who'd be like, hey, her life.
Her life, yeah.
We were wealthy.
Yeah.
Quite.
Yeah.
Yeah, not wealthy.
And you had the love and support of your father. That's the thing. People think that, no, you stay because you don't have any better. Or you don't have a supportive environment to go back to.
I was so ashamed. Like my dad used to tell me all the time, you don't have to go back. I want you to stay home. We can raise your son. But there's this thing that I was like, and then, that shame. And I think because I was raised by a single dad, and then I had this romantic view and notion of marriage, I wanted to stay.
To fix it.
And fix it and show people.
Whatever I'm not doing right.
Yeah, and show people that just because I come from brokenness doesn't mean I cannot have like a proper home with a mother and a father. And I wanted that for my child. And eventually I also got another child, so I got a daughter. And yeah.
Wow. Okay.
10 years down the line, I got a daughter. And I have a lot of regrets because for me, personally, I don't think children should grow up in violence or seeing violence. I remember when T was like 2 and I almost died. I was beaten so badly and I was unconscious. And for like a whole 6 months, that child would see the dad and be like, beat mom, and run with her little fat legs. She would just run away. She wanted no part of him, you know? And she would always say, beat mom, even when they were, he would not hold her. She would not agree. because she was always
now
like,
she's afraid.
she was afraid of him.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that is when I started being like, maybe this is not good. Maybe I should leave. But I was so afraid of leaving. And especially for me at that time, I just left my job. He had convinced me to leave work. And I joined in his company. And so I was transitioning. And so I was lost in between the transition. So I stayed maybe for another 5 years.
Trying to figure that out.
And then by the time I was leaving, my children were in international schools. So I couldn't even figure how to pay for their school fees. Because remember, when I'm leaving, I'm also leaving a lifestyle. I'm also leaving
your new job.
A
basically.
job that I have been doing. And I had no savings. Because I was those wives who never even kept something for themselves, because I wanted to be a good wife.
Good traditional wife.
Yes, I was that.
Right.
And so life went really from driving a Range Rover to getting into a matatu. I hadn't been in a matatu in like 15 years. I was so lost. I didn't even know how to navigate Nairobi. When I tell you, I got into a matatu and people could tell I'm lost.
Yeah, because again, remember, for you, it's from when you were really, really young. So you've had a certain lifestyle for your whole development, basically. So you're literally like learning. It's like you're entering your adolescent and young adulthood fresh. In your 30s now.
Remember, I never dated anyone. I had never been.
Exactly.
I knew
no
plus, I didn't even know anything. Me, I'm the kind of person who even had a bodyguard, and a driver. And my life was completely different. Also. And here I am getting into a matatu, and I'm thinking,
right, okay.
I don't even know. Wow, sometimes I'm back. I'm like, that was me. Very naive, very, very extremely naive. But yeah, we survived. We survived Nairobi. Yeah. I remember now taking my daughter and getting into a matatu, and she's asking, why are there people in our car? Like she's never been in
and she's like, our car.
Why are people in our car? Yeah. Who are these people? Do we know them? Right. And then the driver is eating these things, Mira. And then she's like, is he a goat? And I'm like, oh God, we are going to be beaten in this
We'll be beaten in this matter.
Why is he eating green leaves? And I'm like, oh God, Lord.
Right.
And she doesn't understand, because that's not the life she was used to.
Yeah,
it was hectic for all of us.
Right.
Even getting my kids back, that was a nightmare. You're fighting money when you have none.
True. Yeah.
So
yours was a lived experience.
Mine was a lived experience.
Right.
Tried to commit suicide. I didn't die. I woke up. Please don't try. If you're going, bro. I took 400 medicines, and then I woke up in Avenue Hospital. They were being pumped out. Now, what they don't tell you is they pump them out of your nose.
Yep.
Very unpleasant. You doctors, you can't find like a better way of doing this.
The best way, unfortunately.
I know. Do you know what it means to have 400 of these things come out of your system? Like unaisikia tu. Is it a punishment?
No,
I need someone to explain.
Unfortunately, because the best way to explain it is we're trying to stop absorption as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Because once it's already in the stomach, the poison is being absorbed into your bloodstream. So it's the easiest way. And the other thing is we don't want you to aspirate, which is to breathe in the substance that we're pulling out. Because once it goes into the lungs, that's pretty much a death sentence. So that's why. So it's informed, not punishment.
It can't come out of the mouth though?
No, because then that aspiration part is the biggest danger. That as we are trying to pull it out of your mouth, you'll gag and then breathe in.
That's 10 years ago and I can still feel
it. You still remember
out. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you've been through a lot yourself, like a lot.
Small.
And still joyful. Still full of life and joy. At which point on this journey
did I now start?
Yeah, did Usikimye come into being?
I decided I want to heal.
Okay.
I had a lot of baggage I was carrying. Definitely. I wasn't going to date anyone. I was not ready to do anything. I was just living that life of your kids, work and home. And so I was like, there has to be something more than this. And so I wanted to look for healing. And so I went for therapy. And in therapy, I found joy. I found myself.
Okay.
I even got to learn who am I, because at the end of the day, who you are is very important. Because sometimes as women, our identities are rooted in your children, in your work, in your friends. You really don't.
For you, it's rooted from dad's home to husband's home.
Yes.
Like you didn't have.
There was no transition
in between. Yeah.
So I wanted to find who am I outside of all of this, and in finding myself, I found healing. And so I was like, what if I transmit this healing to other women. I was already a vocal advocate of GBV without ever having told anybody I'd gone through GBV. I never even used to want to talk about, the way I've just said it, I never even used to want to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously there's some NDAs somewhere, so we do not talk about who he is.
Yeah, of course.
And things like that. So I never used to talk about that part of my life. And I was like, what if I actually spoke to women about healing, and I start therapy. And so we started something called Survivors Anonymous.
Okay.
And for 3 years, I was paying for therapy for women who've gone through GBV. And as I sat and, sometimes we had group sessions, and I would listen, and I was like, where? I used to think I'm the only one. This thing is bad.
Right, yeah.
And so in that starting of the journey, then that's how I met my co-founder, Stella Kachina, and we started Usikimye. But we started it as a platform to be online. We didn't think it would grow into this thing it is right now. Yeah. So we started talking to people. This is what you do. Go to the police. If you're raped, go to the police. Go to hospital. These are the centers. We were creating a pathway. But now, creating things online and actually doing them on the ground are two different things.
Very different things.
Very different things.
Very
so
different,
people will tell you, Nimeenda polisi, I've been beaten, and they've told me, when your husband was doing for you shopping, did you come?
Did you come that time?
Go back to your husband. Oh, I was like, no way. No, somebody can tell you that. Yes, they do. And so, small, I'll be like, I'm not working right now, so I can take this survivor. So I can't even tell you when I left work, because I left work.
Right.
And started doing this full time. And by 2020, I remember Voice of America did a documentary and called me Nairobi's hotline. Wow. Nairobi's ambulance, because my car had no less than 3 women inside my car and some in my house. Because I had nowhere to take them.
Yeah, exactly. When you're starting off, you're literally, it's just one-on-one rescue mission.
Yeah. I really don't know what I was thinking. That was crazy. 2020 is something I'd never want to happen again. And so eventually I realized I don't want to go to my house, because my house has like 15 children and like 5 women sleeping on the floor. And so I was like, let me leave. Let me open a safe house. I didn't even know it was a safe house. I was just doing, we were just doing what you needed things to do. As per what was needed. Yeah. Right now, we currently run 3 safe houses.
Beautiful.
We do a feeding program, have an education program. We do SRHR, mtaani. We have mental health. It's called Uzima for 400 women that we work with. We have chamas for women. Usikimye is not just the one thing you see on Instagram or on Facebook or on Twitter. Usikimye has so many other programs that they do to make sure that we break the cycle of violence. Right. So what we do is mainly advocacy. That's what you see on social media. Yeah. But behind that, there are other programs that we run.
Okay. I'm going to ask, just because we're painting a picture for the audience to understand, what does Njeri's typical day look like? Is there such a thing as a typical day? Or what activities do you do sort of on a day-to-day basis?
I don't have a date. I admire people who wake up and they know what they'll be doing at 10 o'clock.
Right.
I could wake up today. Let me just give you an example of Friday. In the middle of the night, somebody sent me a message, sent me a video of a child, and this child was being beaten. He was 4 and was being beaten with Masai whip, nyahunyo. And I was like, what? So when I woke up, everything I had planned for that day changed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I woke up and off I went outside of Nairobi, because it was a case outside of Nairobi, and I went to rescue that child. So that means my whole day changed, especially when it's involving a rescue. It can't even take a week, because you have to go get the child, now start going to the police, go to the children's office, take him to hospital, all those things. So that could be a day. Another typical day could be meetings. I run an organization for sure. I'm looking for funding. I am looking at potential donors. I am also having meetings with my staff. I am thinking of how the food is going to get from point A to point B. Remember, we run a feeding program where we feed 600 to 800 children every day.
Which is so amazing. Just in itself, that's so amazing.
I have to look for, when people are in the safe house, they need psychotherapy. They need food. They need clothes. They need all these other things. I need to figure out where is rent going to come from. In the safe houses, we have gardens. I have to make sure all these things are taken care of. Right. All these things fall on my docket. So sometimes I find I'm going to the safe house. Other times I am in the office. We have to feed the babies. I am a very hands-on.
Yeah, that's what I was
CEO.
going to say. It sounds
not
like you're very, very hands-on, because whenever people say I'm a CEO, the image we get is you're sitting on a fluffy cloud on the tops of heaven, benefiting from a huge salary.
I am not that
living
kind
your
of
best life, not knowing
not.
all the details of what's happening on the ground level. But from what it sounds like, you're actually the one going on the rescue mission.
Yes, because these rescues are very high risk to. I do not want my staff to actually burn out.
Right.
We do not have that many staff to start with. We work with a lot of volunteers, as well as very few. We have 4 paid staff.
4 staff members.
The rest are volunteers.
Do you know that comes as a huge shock for me, given how much work you guys do? It's mind-boggling. Like, I was expecting you'll tell me I have a team of 50 and we are supporting each other.
No.
And really,
that is where you'll find me even at night sometimes I'm working, because we are 4.
Right.
And it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you need to come to our offices to see. Sometimes I come in that office and I'm like, where? What is this we built? Because you'll find people, even before we open the office, people are sitting outside waiting. I've had a woman walk all the way, and I think that for me really, really shocked me. For 2 weeks from Kakamega to our office looking for help. And I
walked from Kakamega.
Walked. By the time she was exhausted, she was tired, she'd been raped. Like, I was like, I wish you called us, we'd have sent you for help.
Yeah.
For me, I find it that simple. Where are you? If I don't have a referral pathway that way, then, come back this way. But it's a lot. But the demand is crazy.
It's crazy.
I'm even afraid of even opening my phone, because it's
prevalent issue, because we live in a very comfortable bubble of ignorance for the most part, where we think GBV is this removed issue that affects only very few people, and we are exaggerating the statistics, and we are, overemphasizing an issue that shouldn't even be talked about. Then there's also the traditional, so to speak, approach where it's your husband's role to beat you. Excuse me.
Yes.
Itabidi. How else will he show you that he loves you? He needs to discipline you.
Yeah.
So when you have that kind of mentality, then there are people who don't understand how big and how much this situation affects, and how many women, how many men, how many children are affected by this.
When people think about GBV, they only think about physical violence.
Exactly, yeah.
But GBV is, and in ways in which in this country that it's so prevalent. I will tell you, and I feel so sad. And as somebody who's in SRHR, we're living in a country where 600,000 teenagers get pregnant every year.
600,000. Let's talk about that figure.
And that figure haunts me, because it means out of the 600,000, how many do you think have a father like me? They'll go back to school. And I'm always thinking, people were praying those many years ago, right? And even now we are saying pray, abstinence. And I'm like,
in 2023.
My son is 25, right? 26. And if that is what he is right now, 26 years ago, people are still talking about abstinence. Now, 26 years later, you want to tell me that thing didn't work then. Now we have 600,000 girls getting pregnant. Then it was horrifying enough for a teenager to be pregnant. Now it's prevalent. It's become a thing.
Sure.
Do you know what you're saying? Out of, let's assume 100,000 girls will go back to school. 500,000 girls, where do you think they go?
Exactly. What
Because
happens
they
to
don't
those
finish
lives?
schools.
Yeah.
Most of them get married. Do you know what they are? Potential victims of gender-based violence.
True.
That scares me.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at GBV, I want you to look at teenage pregnancy as actual GBV. Because most people say it's teenage to teenage.
No. And
But
that's actually
the teenager that is affected is the one that carries the baby.
true.
So, and I will tell you, most of these pregnancies, half of them are not teenage to teenage. Half
True.
of them are
That's
defilement.
true.
And you can't tell me anything.
Someone
I'm on the
taking
ground.
advantage of
I know.
that teenager.
And because I also work in an underserved area, I look and I see a 14-year-old get pregnant. My heart weeps. Because in an underserved area, she will get that baby, and then they live in a house where maybe there are 4 children in a single room. How long do you think the mother will feed them without pushing her to go get married?
Of course.
So the minute she goes and gets married, now she's 15, she's a mother of 1, she goes and gets married, now she's 16, the man she's going to get married to will want a baby. Right?
Yep.
Because I'm not taking care of you if you're not giving me a baby of my own.
True.
So at 16, she's a mother of 2. She has no, remember, she has no education.
Yeah, she has no education.
She has no background. She has no
resources of
money.
her
She has
own.
no resources.
Yeah.
Very soon, this wears thin, this this novelty of being married. And very soon, she starts getting beaten, so she runs away. Who do you think she runs away to? She can't go back home. There's no home to go back to.
True.
Remember, this is a single room. They've been living there. So she gets married or she gets another man to keep her. I assure you, there is no negotiating of condoms. There's no negotiating. No,
for sure.
This other third man now wants another baby.
Of course.
So you're 19, you have 3 babies. And it goes like that. Sometimes I see a 27-year-old walk into the office with 6 children, and I'm speechless. And when I listen, it started with that teenage pregnancy, that we are all about vibes and inshallah. That is how the cycle of GBV keeps on going on and on. So when you're looking at early marriages, most of us think of early marriages as Maasai girls, Samburu girls, Turkana. What you're not looking at is urban poverty that leads to early marriage. And we need to stop thinking it is those, forceful marriages. It is a girl who has to make decisions about her livelihood at 14.
It's actually the only way she knows how to support herself and her family.
Yes.
It's the only way. A lot of times as well, in the impoverished areas, underserved areas, there is the issue of transactional sex.
I was going to get into that.
There's that is a big issue.
It's a very big issue. Why do you think we do the feeding program?
The standard, right.
The feeding program is me trying to mitigate sex for food. It's me trying to negotiate with the community and telling them. I tell people when they come to see me, bring me pads. Don't say you don't. Bring ata ukikuja na 2 packets. They're good enough for me. Because I give 500 girls pads every month. Don't even talk to me about it.
Because again, that's another thing. You're going to have to sleep with someone to get money for pads.
To get because your mother can't afford 80 shillings. Now pads are at 80 bob. I know that sounds like it's a little, but 80 shillings is a lot of money.
Yeah. Especially when you're living on an income of less than $1 a day.
Yes.
Where you're getting
80 shillings is unaffordable. I have seen girls use the paper that you use to pack unga. And I think that for me just broke my heart. I was like, we are in town. We are in Nairobi. We're in the capital city. Why is somebody using paper?
True.
And I was like, you know what? You need pads, come to the office.
Yeah.
We have pads. I do not want you to start talking to the, to men and just,
the guy in the neighborhood, because that's the one who will give you money.
And most of the time it's Buddha guys because they have easy cash.
Yeah.
So there are people we actually reach out to and talk to because preying on teenage girls is so rampant.
Yeah.
And so for me, I look at pregnancy from the age of 10 to 17. Very rampant.
Right.
So that is also for me, as I was saying, GPV.
Yeah.
FGM is bigger than you think.
True. I think for me, the confusion tends to be that we still have a narrative where the teaching is abstain. You should abstain until marriage. And yet, you remove all the factors we're talking about here. What makes you think that this girl is choosing to have sex? Why are we sitting and saying that she's in an empowered space, that she can make a choice based off of whatever teachings you're pushing on her?
Because there's a narrative that Kenya has, which is the most false narrative I've ever seen, where we say girls are empowered.
Exactly.
I do not know which girls are empowered.
Yeah.
Because I'm down in Soweto, I'm down in Kawangware, I'm down in Kibera. And I can tell you for sure, girls are not empowered. Because the decisions they're forced to make. It tells you that this girl has
survival. It's for survival.
Yeah, it's actually they're on survival mode. And there's some of the things, sometimes I really try to talk to them. And when they ask me questions, I don't have answers. I don't have answers. Sometimes somebody's just dreaming of living that single house of theirs where they see their mother being beaten and they just want to go and get their own single house.
Yeah.
And sometimes even with the limited resources we have, I want them to dream. And so I remove them. I take buses and I just take them to town and I take them to Westlands. Because sometimes I'm like, I just want one of them. Yeah. I don't even want all of you. I just want one girl to dream that there is a life
outside
of...
that there's something outside of what
you're
used to hear.
Outside of what you see.
Yeah.
And
wow. That's intense. I'm trying to gather myself, even as we continue the conversation.
Even women.
That's
remember
true.
I told you we ran chamas.
Yeah.
And I was asking, so this time I had a sponsorship and we were able to take 60 women out of the village and we took them to Garden City and we bought them chicken. And some of them were crying and I don't understand. This is Galito's, it was KFC, yeah? And they're like, hini nini. And I went to cry in the toilet, and I was like, I'm so privileged that I have never looked at this chicken as anything other than a fast, quick meal. That for those days when I do.
For convenience,
it's
literally.
and this person is crying because of chicken. And when I really sat with those women and I started asking questions, and some of them told me, I was born in Soweto, I've never left Soweto. And I asked, what do you mean you've never left Soweto? I've never been to town.
Town CBD.
I'm like town gani?
Yeah.
They're like Nairobi. Naenda kufanya nini? Fare ni 80 na kurudi ni 80. Hiyo ni 160. Sasa naenda kufanya nini huko? That just changed my trajectory as a person and how I look at things and how even when I'm doing things within the community, I no longer do them from that point of I'm here. I do them at that point of I'm community informed.
Yes.
Any of my interventions are based what the community wants.
Which
it's
is
never
what we need to do.
What I want. Because most of us, we sit in our offices and imagine the life of these women and imagine how we can change it. No.
True.
You need to sit with these women, break bread with them, be their friend, for you to understand the kind of challenges that they face vis-a-vis you as a person. And
because you're sitting making decisions from your point of view.
Yes.
You have no idea.
And those things don't work.
True.
You know,
True.
when you sit with a girl and she tells you, when I go to the toilet at night, my neighbor is waiting for me to rape me. Ameningoja kwa bafu.
Yeah.
I know. But I can't also pee on the bed.
On the bed.
It's not even a bed, you're on the mattress on the floor. So you need to go to the toilet. And so how then, what kind of intervention do you run?
Which empowerment is this you're saying she has?
Yes. So what are you telling a 12-year-old who knows there's a rapist in their plot who waits for her in the bathroom to rape her every day? And now she's pregnant. And she comes to your office, and then the church tells you abortion is wrong. So those are the kind of things I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. The next question, just so that the audience has a little bit of a better understanding. You mentioned having a hotline. The rescue center and the rescue response is based off of a hotline. Maybe walk us through how that works from the Usikimye point of view.
So we have a hotline, which is currently closed due to not having money. So I should... but this is how it used to work. It's been closed for a month now.
Okay.
Hopefully we have a gala where we're going to do a fundraising, and it should be back because I can't do this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Claire, I can't be. I'm the one who receives calls, and I'm burning out.
That's actually, I was coming there. I'm going to come there.
I'm burning out very, very fast.
How you look after yourself. We're coming there.
But when the call center was up and active, we had 4 therapists manning it. It was manned by therapists because I am a firm believer in trauma-informed intervention. So you would call. Sometimes you've just been beaten, so it could be a victim, could be a survivor, could be a neighbor, could be a well-wisher who has seen something. And we are able to immediately administer PFA, psychological first aid. If somebody's panicking, if somebody's worried, whatever it is, we've actually talked down to victims of suicide. I mean, our hotline has done good work. We were receiving maybe 1,000 cases a month, and we were doing work. And I'm very proud of that hotline. And I'm really hoping it will come back up. So those are the kind of interventions we were running. And then we were able to go back and, do you need help? Where are you? I mean, say, for example, Meru. So where are you in Meru? Okay. So we're able to call the police station that is nearest to you, talk to the OCS. If you need an urgent intervention, they were able to actually go and do it.
Okay.
And this number is known throughout the country.
Right. Okay.
So
fantastic. Yeah.
We need to be back up.
Yeah, of course. It sounds like, and I'm hoping just the audience we have here will be listening all the way to the end to see how they can support as well.
That was amazing. Okay. Because we were able to run real time interventions. Yeah.
So now that it's not up and you're having to receive calls yourself, because I know also, because I followed the Usikimye page for a while now, and I see the stories that they share. And a lot of times it's mentioned that Njeri was called and she went to, and Njeri had to do this, and she's been following up on this. And I'm like, wait, does Njeri do everything? How? Because how is she?
Because now in our office, we have a psychologist, because we have a lot of walk-in clients. That's the other thing. We
Yeah.
have a lot of walk-in clients. You would not believe it. And they come from all stages of life.
Right.
You'll be very shocked. Somebody comes from Lavington to our office because they're anonymous. No one knows them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody comes in from God knows where. So it's not, we don't just serve the community.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, the community are the least people we serve sometimes. So we do have a psychologist in the office, and we offer free psychological help. We don't even like advertising it because it's already
overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
I can imagine.
So we do have that, and then we have, of course, the program people in the office. So remember, we run a daily feeding program.
Right. Yeah.
So I cannot remove them from the feeding program, and sometimes volunteers don't show up.
Yeah.
So it's us, the two of us giving food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot.
So I have to go and do these things.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And then my co-founder has to work so that I can get paid.
Yeah. Yeah, true, of course.
So they are not there.
Yeah.
They're not in the office.
So
because they actually have a full-time job.
Right. Okay. So outside of Usikimye.
Outside of Usikimye.
Right. Okay. Now I understand.
So they can work, so that they can eat. Otherwise, in the
Right.
planning.
Of course. Because you're running up and down,
Yes.
actually making a real difference on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how it looks like. Of course, then we have staff in the safe house.
Yeah. So then how do you manage to run so many programs? Let me just reference, because I told you I did my homework. So Usikimye's programs include a GBV response helpline, which is what you've just talked about.
Yeah.
The GBV rescue and response, which is what you've been doing.
Yes.
Then Inua Mama.
Those are the chamas.
The chamas.
We
okay.
have 400 women in those chamas.
Oh, wow.
Anytime you walk into our office, you'll find a chama ongoing.
Nice.
Why is this important? And I feel like this is something we need to talk. Just when we started this chama, most of the women were given 10 bob every week.
Wow.
Do you know how proud I am of my chama? We're about to break the year. Why 3 of the chamas, last year we only had one, have reached 400,000 in savings.
Wow.
That are now going to be
That's such a
redistributed back to them.
Huge achievement, especially given
10 shillings.
who you are servicing.
Yes.
You know? And the fact that even that 10 shillings is so painful to release.
And they grow and they're able to do things that they imagine they can do.
Fantastic.
Pay school fees, pay rent. They take small loans and they're able to run their micro businesses. We're also able to teach and educate them so that they can be able to run these micro businesses. So you'll find somebody now has a power uji, somebody else is able to open a kibanda, anything that can, give them money, because most of my women are mama fua. They're Adobe women.
Okay, yeah.
That go to, but you also realize washing machines are here.
Yeah.
So they're losing jobs.
Yeah.
To washing machines.
Yeah.
And so we have to start looking at alternate ways of which to empower these women to be able to do something with their lives. Some of it, you just find somebody's borrowing 500 shillings to be able to go around selling watermelon.
To be able to break even for the day.
Yes, so that they can get something so that they can cook for their kids. So that's why we started these chamas. So these chamas are between 15 people. Then they meet together once a week. They borrow, save, and lend within themselves.
Nice.
What we do for them is we keep the money.
Yeah.
How do we keep the money? I also do not want to be responsible for people's money. Mskie Njeri ran away with money.
Away
No.
with our millions.
The women, each one has 1 digit of the SIM card. The SIM card is registered under Usikimye, so you cannot remove the money. So we all come. We have the phone, we don't have we have 1 digit. They have the other 3.
Okay.
So we all come in and input. So we saved 20,000. Okay. So is 20,000 still here? It's that simple.
All right. So you mean the pin for the account, the SIM card?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they just come, we put. So when we finish the meeting, we had 5,000. When we start the meeting, do we have our 5,000?
Right, so it's accountability,
it's accountability
on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
Literally every meeting we have, we make sure the money is still there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is borrowing, who is nini. Everybody has a book. So everybody is able to tell how much I have saved, how much do I have, how much is my loan, and things like that.
And what do I need to pay back?
At the end of the
year,
year, everybody should have paid their loans. Then we come and break the chama. Then everything we saved back from the interest, from the deposit, we have an accountant who comes, works a formula, and then everybody's able to get shares. Everybody is able to get back their shares. And then January we start again.
So empowering.
Yeah.
I feel like some of those women have much more financial savvy than a lot of us out
You'd
here.
be very shocked.
Yeah.
And that's how we've been able to save.
Oh, fantastic.
And that's how they've been able to start things and be able to...
Because you can't on your own, on a day-to-day, on a small... It's impossible.
It's impossible. But
doesn't
when you
even matter.
cooperatively come together...
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we do. It's called Chama Mama, and it's...
Fantastic.
I think that's one of my best programs. That and the library.
And I love the pride that with which you speak of it.
When I was looking at those books and I saw people have saved, one
saved.
had 360, one had 400. Some have even gone as far ahead. They become so savvy with their business that some are saving 1,000 every week, and I'm like,
wow.
I don't even do that. Okay.
You could learn from them. You know,
I am part of these jammers.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, like 4 or 5.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You also have to. These are your people.
True.
So you have to join.
You also understand how it actually works. You understand.
So I'm in a chama for 10 bob. I'm in another one for 20 bob. I'm in another one for 50 bob. I'm in the 1,000 one.
Yeah.
And you learn.
Yeah.
You keep on learning. And so there are these ones who are looking at, hey, Skybreakers. One of them is called Skybreakers. Skybreakers is the biggest. They are the ones with the 400,000. And I was looking at them. I was like, you women have made me proud.
Yeah.
Wakaniambia utatupeleka tukakule kuku tena.
You have to motivate us.
Yes, you have to motivate us so that next year we do this again. But I'm really, really proud of my women.
I love that. Let me read through some of the others. You have 3 safe houses.
Yes, we do.
Then we have the feeding program that you've mentioned. You said how many children a day?
600 to 800, and sometimes 1,000.
How do you do that, though?
I do not know. I wish I could tell you.
Nakuja kwa ground because I need to see you guys
come
in action.
Yes, you need to come.
Then we have the Binti SRHR program.
Yes, that one we do it during school days. It is supported by Amplify Girls. We have 250 girls.
Wow.
Every week.
Yeah.
Who come for life skills, sexual health and reproductive rights. We teach them all these things. And
fantastic. Because there you're bridging a huge gap as well. Because one of the conversations we still keep having on repeat on this podcast is the importance of comprehensive sexuality education.
Very, very important.
And the fact that we are still resistant for some reason.
I do not understand.
To integrate it into our
600,000 girls
are pregnant every year.
That's it.
Is that a number we can keep sweeping under the rug?
No.
That's the question.
No.
When will we act?
So
Wait
that's
for
1.2 children. Because we keep thinking that these girls are adults. And let me tell you something. Getting a child as a teenager does not make you an adult.
True.
I guarantee
you would speak
I
from
would
experience.
sleep and that child would be found under the bed.
Wow.
Because me, I'm sleeping.
Yeah,
me I don't even remember. So my dad is on used to sleep with a child because I am not me I'm a child. Me I used to sleep. Me sikumbuki niko na mtoto analia, mi nishalala. The child is huko under the bed. I don't know. So my dad used to say, feed the child, give me the child, because one day you'll kill this child.
Because I need to supervise and make sure this
child that is a
alive.
person you actually assume is an adult.
There's no way.
I saw somebody just get married the other day. I don't know whether you saw that story. A full-grown 50-something man got married just on Friday. That's when the kids finished from 4. Had a 17-year-old, and he's calling her his second wife. And I was like, this is so disgusting.
Yeah.
That is a child.
And
she's like, my husband. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This here is just another victim of GP. And I could see it.
True.
And the first wife is there like, this is my... Yeah. And this first wife has children in university. And I was like, this is so disgusting.
But you see, for her, she's achieved a helper. This is a slave now.
Exactly. That's how I was looking at it. I was like, this is a free laborer. Yeah. And for the man, he's getting sex. What else is he getting? I mean, mnaambiana nini na mtoto wa miaka 17? What are you telling each other? And I was so horrified by the whole story. Yeah. But because I ran it on my Facebook, it got viral. Oh, good. So that man deleted. Really? His whole account.
Really?
Because he was told Usikimye is coming for you. I do not know why people use us as I don't even know who
I think they see that you're doing the work.
Yeah,
they see
but I was
in action.
So horrified.
That's
and
a horrific
my heart
story.
sank. I was like, we're in 2023.
Exactly. That's the
you
thing.
Are getting a child from school and getting married to them, and we are comfortable with this. What is wrong with us?
And we're all okay. We're all, in fact, we're going there to celebrate it. Yeah. Okay, let me continue going down this list. We have the post-rescue support.
Yes, that's the psychotherapy.
Yeah, you also had a COVID-19 response psychosocial support program. Then there's the library and the arts program.
Yeah,
maybe tell us a little bit about those.
That's my favorite program.
Yeah.
On Saturdays, me and my babies, 150 to 200. We're in the social hall. We are down. We dance. We sing.
Nice.
We read for joy.
Right.
Not for any other thing. Just storybooks.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the spark of imagination that reading stories give.
True.
We also have a dance crew. Nice. They're called Chrome Dance Crew that come and help us with the kids and help them to dance, teach them how to dance. This is a group of young men. I know people don't think I work with men, but that's a group of young men, about 10 of them.
Right. Okay.
And they dance and they're really acrobatic, athletic, and traditional dances that I've seen them go to. When the visitors come, they were 3 months. They were in Spain.
Oh, nice!
I'm so proud of those boys.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's fantastic. Just showcasing their talent.
from Soweto to the world.
Nice.
Yes.
I like that.
That as I told you,
such a beautiful
that's my
story.
joyful space.
Yeah.
So these young men, we started with them 4 years ago.
Nice.
They come, they help us. They're part of our volunteer team to feed, take care of these babies. And now they started dancing, and they've been dancing, and now we've seen them grow. I'm so proud of them.
Oh, wow.
In a place where there are gangs, drugs, and all these things.
Yeah, and all these shortcuts to achieving a big
things,
life. Yeah.
These boys have danced their way all the way.
Beautiful. Ah.
This year alone, they've been to Germany, they've been to Portugal, Spain, and France, and Belgium.
Based off of their talent. That's a powerful story right there.
I
hope you're shouting this pride over the rooftops.
Because
because it just sounds to me that, like you said, you're working with the community for the community at their level, providing the resources they actually need, tapping into their own reserves in terms of their own talent, their own resilience from the experiences that they've had. You're also showing them what they can achieve. Because as simple as a story of giving them KFC, as you've said, it's a simple story, yes. Anyone else from a point of, I don't even think it's privilege because we take it for granted.
Like
you just
assume.
granted. You assume it's accessible.
And then when you sit there and you listen to their stories and then you start understanding, then you start seeing how important that is.
True.
You know, sometimes we go to the malls and you're like, Aki, look at the people. What may just a mall? I think that is a day that I never even say that anymore. I'm like, let them come to the mall. It's
you don't know what people are trying to get away from.
It's so different when you are in the vijijis, when you're in the slums. I know we call them underserved areas, but honestly, they're slums.
They're slums, yeah.
And even going to the toilet is a problem. Let people go to the malls. Let people dream.
Yeah.
Let people see these things.
Let them see what they can achieve.
Let them be able to dream.
True.
Because sometimes that's all you have.
Something they can aspire
in a country
towards.
that steals your dreams. Let people dream.
Right. I love that it's for the people. It's actually solution driven from the people based off of what they actually need.
Yes.
One question I have specifically about the Usikimye page or pages, a lot of the time it's about telling their stories or telling us, the audience, what's happening on the ground, like on a case-to-case basis, because the post will be, this was the call we received, this is the action we're taking, this is the support we need. Why did you go with the angle of sharing the experience? Because a lot of times, and I'm just going to talk about organizations in general, they tend to be very sanitized. We are protecting the audience from the reality on the ground. So
I know.
Why was that your approach? Why has that been your
because
approach?
Where has the sanitization taken us? It
Mm.
means people have remained ignorant and people are not aware. That advocacy, I use storytelling as advocacy.
True. Yeah.
That is it. Because it's the truth. That is what is happening.
Yeah.
And if we're not able to tell people or capture their stories, then we're lying to people. I believe that advocacy shouldn't be me and you going to high end of tales. You already know about GPV.
Yeah.
I already know.
Yeah.
What about those people down there that it hasn't escalated to them?
True.
You know?
True.
So in order for us to de-escalate, and you know what, that has happened. It means people are now able to report. On my way here, a woman called me and told me, somebody's beating their housemaid, and they're really beating their housemaid. And I know Usikimye pages tell us we should not be silent. And I was like,
beautiful.
Isn't that it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Already
I get
it's a call to
so
action.
many calls
Yeah.
where people are asking me, what can I do? Because this is happening in my neighborhood.
Right.
If we didn't talk about these things,
True.
then how would people know how to get help?
Because again, if you think about it culturally, we're a people who tend to be usiangalie. It has nothing to do with you. Don't listen. None of your business.
Aye.
That is not your house. But now you've sensitized people to actually pay attention and take
people
action.
are paying attention.
Yeah.
Because most of these calls are from well wishers. This child is being beaten. Njeri, what can I do? Then I'm like, do this and this and this.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes I don't even have to run interference.
Right.
Sometimes
Yeah.
people themselves, they're like, I'm at the police, what do I do?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, go to this place,
That
go to
is
this
so
desk,
amazing.
and do this and this and this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. Where do I go? Okay,
Yeah.
this is where I'll send you.
Yeah.
And people are doing it.
That's amazing.
So
because
what
the
I'm doing is
impact-
creating an army
Yeah.
of people who are willing
Yeah.
to look
to
beyond
step
themselves.
up. To step up. Because again, like I said, culturally, I see something bad happening to someone, as long as it's not me, it's none of my business. In fact, now I'm scared for me. You're being robbed over there, let me run. You're being beaten over there, it's none of my business. Or it's her house, it's her husband, it's her family, none of my business.
How am I involved in it?
Yeah. So I really love that the impact is actually tangible, that people are now aware enough to think to themselves, you know what, I should be responsible here. Let me, even if I don't know what I'm supposed to do, let me call and find out and help where I can.
Yes, exactly.
That's such a beautiful story.
And like that person was telling me about the maid, when she spoke to that maid did not want to say. So she sent her maid. And her maid was able to meet that maid at their point of contact.
True.
And she said, I want to be rescued. I've been here for 2 months and I'm being beaten. She took my phone, she took my ID, she took my everything. And so I told her, this is what we're going to do. But for this one, I'm going to actually do a rescue myself, because it's not very... when I listened to it, I was like, if I need to run interference. Sometimes I have to listen on a case to case, and I'm like, this one, let me go. But you start to understand that people are now concerned, that people are now able to see this is GBV.
This is GBV.
Whereas before,
we need to act
when
on
we
it.
sanitize and we assume our audience, we are not... I'm a person who does not believe in infantilizing adults. We are adults, act like it.
True.
Yeah.
True. You need to know what the facts are, and as confrontational as it is to see, observe, or watch, it's something you need to be aware of.
Exactly.
Right. A question I have in terms of your day-to-day for the rescue missions, how do you keep yourself safe? Because it sounds like you go into a very volatile situation most of the time, and I mean, you're one person. You're not one person army.
Who people actually know.
Exactly.
There are chances of going, and then people are like, Njeri, Kwani, what have we done here?
Yeah, what have we done here? Exactly, yeah. So people know
I can just be visiting, and they're like, no, we have nothing to offer here.
So how do you approach such a situation where you've been called in to rescue someone who is being abused or is being beaten up or is being assaulted, a child where it's literally you're taking away from the caregiver who's causing them harm, basically? How do you protect yourself, or how do you go about approaching that scenario? Just paint us that picture.
Let me first start by saying I've just come back to the country after 3 months of hiding because somebody wanted to kill me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are hazards to this. There are hazards to this job. So, but generally, what I do nowadays is I go to the police, I talk to the OCS, and the police, they give me a policeman or two, and we go do the rescue.
Right.
It's no longer safe for me to go by myself.
I can't imagine.
I've been
beaten. But I'm not surprised though, because you are going.
You're going into violence, so do not assume that
you're
the
going
person.
To someone
I remember the one I was beaten is, the way you walk into a door, and kumbe the perpetrator is behind the door. I'd already taken one child down, so I was coming for the mama because she had had a CS. So I'd taken the infant down, so I was coming for her so I can help her walk down the stairs. And kumbe the husband had just walked in. So she's telling me like this. Me, I didn't understand. So me, I just walked in. I was like, what? I saw stars. I was like, wow.
And remember, this is someone who's comfortable beating his people.
Yes, and
so
now he's also very comfortable beating me.
And you're a stranger. What is going to stop
That is how I started going with police.
Right.
Because I realized one of these days I'll be beaten. I will not be able to go home. Yeah.
Oh, wow. As we wind down, because there's always the you aspect. How do you nurture yourself? How do you protect yourself? How do you take care of yourself? How do you debrief from the violence that exists around you on a day-to-day basis? How do you prioritize Njeri? What does Njeri do for Njeri?
Well, let me tell you. Find pockets of joy. This life is about finding pockets of joy, things that make you happy. Me, I listen to Beyonce. I dance. I feel nice. I'm very much a concert goer. You'll find me at Blankets and Wine. I like those things because they give me joy.
Yeah.
I have realized I need to find... There is no need for resistance if there's no joy.
True.
So look for joy. Look for joy. Look for things that make you happy. Go and do sip and paint. I mean, it doesn't matter.
True.
Stay in your home, get a canvas and just, remove. I go to the gym and do boxing.
Nice.
It's very nice. It makes me feel very empowered when I come out of it. Just that I've been sick, so I haven't done that in a minute. But I find I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for all these pockets of joy in my life where I can just get time for myself.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm a gamer. I game every day. That one it goes without saying.
Yeah.
I've actually found a new game that I'm enjoying. It's called Heroes War.
Nice.
Heroes Wars, and I'm playing it.
Yeah.
That one is now on my phone, not just on the PS. Because I also need to just, sometimes I'm like, this is too much.
Yeah,
I need off. And I
detach from
and I
reality
detach,
for
and
a
I'm like,
while.
let me just take my phone and just play Kidogo. I feel my heart nice.
Yeah.
And I'm good.
Yeah.
So just find these things that give you joy.
Right.
Is it fashion? Is it what? There are things that you love. And
Yeah.
also find your inner child.
Yeah.
Make sure that your inner child is happy.
Fantastic,
If your inner
yeah.
child is happy, then
Yeah.
you'll also be happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Final question, and this is specifically because I want to engage the audience and the power of the audience. For the audience listening and watching I'd encourage you to go find Usikimye, the website, as well as all their social media pages, so that you can find contact details. I'll, of course, as always, put everything in the description box below, as well as on the audio platforms in the description. But in terms of support, what can the community do to support Usikimye specifically? Because it's not enough. I mean, one person can only do so much.
Yeah, true.
And it sounds to me like a lot of what you've managed to achieve is because of community coming together. It's because of supporters, people offering some either volunteering or offering financial support. But now me sitting in my sitting room, listening or watching, from my place of privilege and lack of knowledge of how to do better. Not because I'm a bad person, but I just don't know.
You didn't know.
Yeah, how to go about being of actual assistance in my community. What would you want to request the audience in terms of support for Usikimye?
There are 3 things you can actually give. Your time, that's volunteering, your time. Your skills, you have skills.
Yeah.
Everybody has a set of skills. You can come help cook, you can come help clean.
Yeah.
But people don't want to hear that. So, but you have skills.
Yeah.
You're an economist. You're used to macroeconomics. Come and give us microeconomics. How do we run this, chamas efficiently? You have those skills.
Yeah.
You can give them to us.
Yeah.
Money. We are a community-based organization.
Yeah.
Believe me, we need money. We
Yeah.
do so many things.
Yeah.
We have rent to pay. We have food to buy. We
need to get that hotline back online,
back
please.
online.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of our work is unfunded. Some is,
Yeah.
but most of it is unfunded.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that we can plug into our resources and support the great, it's not just a good cause. You're doing great work and it's so impactful. I'm mostly speechless right now because if I thought I was in awe before, now I'm like, mind blown. But just for everyone who's been able to stay all the way through to the end of this episode, I want to say thank you very much for watching. And I hope you've learned something. I hope you've learned as much as I have, because the stories behind the facilities, the organizations, the community-based work like what Njeri is doing, it's a human story. It's a you and me story. It's not just about this bubble fancy thing in the cloud. It's actually creating impact on the ground. And it's a beautiful thing for us to be able to highlight. I feel very privileged to be able to share these stories as well, because I'm hoping that it'll help us plug in much more. It's always a good thing. And I like that people come up with their own ideas and you want to make a difference. But sometimes I think we would do so much more if we plugged into institutions, organizations, and people who are already on the ground working and just grow with them or help them grow and extend their reach a bit further. So this is an opportunity for anyone who's looking on how to plug in. Please reach out. We'll have all our information in the description boxes below, and finding us on social media as well, finding Usikimye on social media so that you can be able to interact and assist. Like we said, Njeri is asking for time, she's asking for your skills, and she's asking for some money. So please plug in where you can, where you're able to. If you've been wondering what to do with your Saturday afternoons, tumekupatia plan. So thank you so much for watching. And as always, I look forward to seeing you again next week.